Good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday, everyone. So, what's new? We're going to be talking about resistance training today. So, I am super excited to have this chat with you guys. I feel like as women, it's really easy for us to let this ball kind of drop. You know, we talk about juggling a lot of things. We talk about having to have a plan and a routine, being systematic and consistent. And a lot of times I see within my clients that resistance training is the first thing to go. Some of that is just because we feel a little bit less confident in that area. So I know when we talk about cardio, it's easy to, walk out the front door and just go for a walk. Or, if we hit the gym, we can mindlessly, get on a piece of machinery and bust it out. But resistance training a lot of times can be seen as being difficult for people, It can be seen as taking a little bit more mental capacity. And so that's why I wanted to chat with you guys about resistance training today. And so a few benefits of resistance training is, as women, we are more prone to osteoporosis. And so the weakening of our bones and our bones becoming brittle as we get older. And so strength training, time under tension, does help with the onset of osteoporosis, as well as fighting, its ability to just be degenerative for us, as well as, muscle atrophy. And so as we do get older, of course, everything kind of works in a different way. It gets a little bit just not as spring chicken-like, That's a word, right? And so with that being said, muscle atrophy is one of those things that we do have to realistically understand that will happen. And so if you are involved in a regular routine resistance training program, then you are less likely to have these things be something that affects you. And so do know that it also helps with relaxation and sleep quality. And so I know we kind of mentioned this a little bit last week, but because of the decreased cortisol and adrenal levels during sleep, resistance training is more likely to have an improved reaction on that. And so do know that you will get a little bit better quality sleep too, if that is something that you're interested in, which I know for me would be lovely, just saying. And so when we talk about natural recommendations for strength training, a lot of times we think that we have to do so much. So I don't know how many of you guys are involved in a gym, but if you go there on a routine basis, you will start seeing the exact same people. These are your habitual people, and you're like, oh my gosh, that person was just lifting yesterday. How are they lifting every single day? Why are they lifting every single day? And so I will tell you that you do not have to lift every single day. You need to be doing each major muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. And so if that means that you can do a full body with, resistance bands or weights or body weight, there are so many different ways to kind of liven up your resistance training. And so do know that it does not have to be done every single day. Hey, Wendy, how's it going? I'm glad you guys found me. I was worried that you guys wouldn't find me on my group because I usually have a little bit more people watching. Hey, Wendy, I have 2 Wendy's today. It's exciting. Thanks, guys. So what I was talking about was national recommendations. Okay, I digress. Sorry, squirrel. So 2 to 3 days a week. And so what I would do if you aren't doing any resistance training at all right now, hey, Lindsay, I would say that just to start off with 1 day a week. Start off 1 day that you want to work out the major muscle groups, okay? And so I would say consistently that this would be the easiest thing to do would be full body. It might take you a little bit longer, but it's one of those things that you could knock it all out and not feel like you had to keep coming back and going, did I do back yesterday? Did I do biceps on Wednesday? I'm not quite sure, okay? So if you can have something that's completely full body, then you can knock it out, you can cross it off. And then once you are consistent with that, then you can integrate in another full day. And so what you will see is that those people that are consistently there, they are working opposing muscle groups. And so they are working just a tiny little set of muscles, and then they're coming in and they're doing that every single day. So that's why they're lifting every day, okay? This is not something when you are first starting out that you have to do by any means. I would also say that it's important for you to give your body a full recovery from resistance training, 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so I don't know about you, but after resistance training, you should be sore. Okay, I'm usually sore about 48 hours afterwards. Don't ask me why. My body just has like a different reaction to the resistance training. So most people would say they do it, let's say Monday morning, Tuesday morning, they wake up and they're sore. Okay. And that's good. Being sore is a good thing. A lot of times we think, oh man, I must have overdone it if I'm sore. There's a difference between being sore and then not being able to move, right? So if you are sore, if you kind of move something a little bit and you're like, ooh, that's kind of achy. I feel that. That means you did it right. That means you're creating enough taxation to have the change occur that you want to have happen. But with that being said, for me, that's more of a 48-hour thing. My body just takes a little bit longer to kind of have the onset of it. And so do know that having a complete recovery in regards to resistance training is going to allow for your body to make sure that it's completely healed, or healed in a good enough manner to be able to continue on. Okay, so that doesn't mean that you have to take a rest day if you don't want to. Let's say we did our resistance training on Tuesday, then maybe Wednesday we do cardio, and then we go back to resistance training on Thursday. So being that, national recommendations do say 2 to 3 days a week, I have a lot of clients that will do it on Tuesday and Thursday. If you feel like me and it's something that you are extremely sore, let's say Thursday, then maybe you want to switch your resistance trainings to maybe Tuesday and Friday. That's completely okay as well. The other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is bulking. So I think it's the common misconception as females that we use as an excuse to not have to do resistance training, right? So we say, oh, I just don't want to bulk up. That's going to be something that I don't want to look like the Hulk, And so I will tell you right now, as females, it is almost impossible for this to happen naturally. So when you see the lovely ladies with the big biceps, and huge shoulders, it's because they want that to happen. Most often not, they are on something artificial to enhance the growth of their muscles. We were not designed that way. We were not made that way to build and to bulk on muscle naturally. So we don't have the testosterone that it takes to be able to do that, as well as the other chemicals and hormones in our body to make us just naturally bulk up. And so do not let that be a stressor or a worry, okay? Do know that when we talk about resistance training, we also want to make sure that we have a good idea of like reps and sets. And so if I'm talking to you about this, you might be like, okay, well, what is a rep and what is a set? Okay, a rep is a complete repetition of a movement to create change. Okay, so like a bicep curl, that's a rep. If I do a bicep curl, that is 1 rep. Okay. If I have a set, it is a set of reps. Okay. So if I do 10 bicep curls, that is 1 set. Okay. When we are first starting out on a resistance training, it is important for you to do light weight and lots of reps. Okay, so when I say lots of reps, well, what is that? How many do we usually say? So that's going to be a little bit different for everybody. Depending on how light your weight is, will depend on how many reps that you do in a set. Okay, and so what I would say is that the first few that you do should be pretty easy. You should be like, I could do this all day. By about halfway through the set, you should be feeling a little bit of burn. And by the last 2 or 3, it should feel like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make another one out of this. Okay. And so for most people, I would say that's usually around 12 to 15 reps. If you're doing really lightweight, you might even have to do more, and that's okay. I would start out with 1 set and then work your way up to 2 or 3. Okay. After you have been doing resistance training for quite some time and you feel like you're not sore the next day, then that's a good indicator that you need to go up on weight. Okay. I know it's not something that we want to hear, but if we're not sore, then we're not creating the change that we want to see. Okay. And you got to go up on your weight. Okay. It doesn't have to just be weight. It can be bands. So that's time under tension, and that's completely okay as well. The biggest thing with bands is to make sure to hold that tension. So a lot of times we let the band like kind of sling us out everywhere and use momentum. And so this unfortunately is not going to create the change that you're wanting to see either. And so more than anything, I just want you to know that what you're doing is for a purpose, and you're going to get an effect out of it. So the other thing that you could do is body weight. So if you don't have weights and you don't have bands, that's completely okay. Body weight is a great place to start, okay? And so there are tons of body weight exercises. Google it, YouTube it. There are exercises out there that are free and available for you. So push-ups, sit-ups. We could do squats, lunges, wall sits. I mean, the options are endless on what you can do with body weight. And so I think that that is one of the best ways to start. Hey, Carrie, how's it going? So with that, the only other thing that I was going to talk about was breathing, okay? And so if you have been doing resistance training for quite some time and you are getting up to where you're having a little bit heavier breathing during your resistance training, what I would say is to make sure that you exhale with your lift, so your push of the weight, and you inhale with that recovery, with resetting, okay? So for example, if I was going to do a shoulder press, we're going to exhale when we lift up. So we're going to go, and then as I come back to reset, we're going to inhale, exhale, and inhale. So what this does is you will see with your exhale, you will be able to push harder. It will make it easier because of the exhale. And then with your inhale, you're bringing oxygen back in to be able to allow you to get after the next rep, okay? And so if that is something that's really confusing for you, it's okay. But as you get heavier, you will see that your breathing really does make a huge difference in what you are able to lift consistently, okay? So let me see if I can see you guys' comments. I don't know if you guys have any comments. I don't see them. But I just wanted to make sure that there weren't any. So then that way I didn't not answer them. But if you guys did have comments, if you have questions about resistance training that I didn't talk about today, do know that I will come in and I will answer those accordingly. Hey, Ashley, how's it going? So if you have anything and you're watching this on the replay too, please comment below. I am more than welcome to come back and to answer any of those. I just wanted to give you something that you felt like wasn't overwhelming, because I think when we talk about resistance training, it's just something that we're not as prone to be consistent with, because we kind of are confused on where do I start. And it doesn't have to be something that is really intense, that is extremely heavy, that involves any equipment, okay? And so I do have a lovely product available called Creating a Manageable Workout Routine. If you guys are interested in that, I did link that below. Or if you guys are interested in having a workout community in my group coaching, that is exactly what we're doing next month. It's called Movement May, and we are going to talk about all of the things that we have kind of skimmed the surface on in these lives so far. So we're going to talk about resistance training. We're going to talk about cardio. We're going to talk about intentional movement. We're going to talk about rest, recovery, stretching, balancing, making a plan, being able to have resistance training and cardiovascular training be integrated into your day, to where it's not something that you just feel like you have to do for a season, but it's something that you can integrate in as a lifestyle. And so if any of those things are things that you are interested in, that you want accountability, you want a community with, please know that it is here and available for you through a different platform with my group coaching as well. So until next week we are going to be going over rest, recovery, and stretching. Okay. And so if you are someone that always skips out on the stretching, join me next week, because we're going to talk about why it's so important to stretch. I know it's one of those things that when we're done and we just want to get out and get going on the rest of our day, that it can be, kind of thrown out, but it is so important to recovery and so important to lengthen and our muscles. But I get on a tangent. I digress. I won't spoil that. I'll leave that for another day. But honestly, if you guys have questions about resistance training, please comment below, and I will come back in and I will message you back or DM me. You're more than welcome to do that as well. And we can talk about resistance training. So have a beautiful day. Thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy morning to come and listen and be involved. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you have a great resistance training day, hopefully. And I will see you guys next time.